Okay, it is recording. And we are back this week. Monday, it's week 11, I believe, for us. I'm going to bring in my screen here. Okay, I'm going to go to classwork. And yet, we're in week 11 already in sociology. So it's going fast. This past week, just to go back, we wrapped up chapter 4 or 5 test. So everyone should have taken that unless they made arrangements to take it with me today, which I did leave it up today. So if you haven't taken either, you two um, get on there and get it today. I'm going to take it down tonight because a couple people had permission to take it today. Last week there was a TED Talk and should have finished that up. And then, we had covered all that other stuff last week. So this week we're into a new week. And on a side note, before I get into all this, you may have heard that the governor announced some new regulations regarding the COVID and schools and that. Officially, Harper Creek High School will go all virtual for 3 weeks starting on Wednesday. Now, you guys are virtual anyway, so it doesn't really affect you. But for the hybrid students, they're here. The H group is here today and tomorrow, and the C group won't be back for at least 3 weeks. Now, the Harper Creek School Board will be meeting tomorrow night. They may do other changes or decisions, I'm not sure. But at minimum, the high school will not be meeting in person. I'm hoping it's approved that I could be here at school some days each week and allow students to come in to get extra help or work on HCTV or do things like that. So I'm hoping that happens. Hello, Noah. If you can say hello or hi in the chat, that'd be great. I already told the other two, but we'll see. So it's not going to, if you're virtual only, it's not going to obviously affect you so much, but I thought I'd let you know because you may have heard about that. Also, sports and that are on hold for now. So into week 11 already. What's going on week 11? First of all, I carried this assignment over from last week. So I moved it up. I clicked and dragged it up here. It was in last week's assignments. Originally, it was going to be due last Friday, but with the test and a few other things going on, I thought, well, it's kind of a bigger documentary and I want people to focus on it and do a good job. So I moved it to tomorrow. So if you haven't done already, you still got through to tomorrow to do it. It's Dropout Nation. It's pretty interesting. I watched this documentary a number of times because I've used it for a few years now. And it focuses on an inner city high school down in Houston, Texas. And it focuses on the stories of 4 students who are come from poor backgrounds. And in this case, it's a predominantly minority school. And it focuses on the challenges of those 4 students and this school, which has a big population for poor and minority students. But all schools in America and why in every community struggle with dropouts and students struggling in school. Harper Creek does. We have students like this too, not in as big in numbers, but we do have them. And so it's interesting on that whole issue of what to do about this. And when you see their stories and their situations, you'll see it's more complicated than just somebody. A lot of times people think, oh, they're just lazy, they're just this, they're just that for students that don't do well in school. But it's often more complicated than that. So I think you'll find it interesting, and there's a little assignment to go along with it. It's not too hard. Then we have a TED Talks. Now, this TED Talks, I came across it, and even though it wasn't directly on some of the topics I'm covering, I thought at this time of online learning, this might be a good one for my students to see. So it's inside, it's also kind of humorous and kind of a fun one to watch at the same time. But it's inside the mind of a master procrastinator. Now, that is a big challenge for the virtual and online students because if no one's there to put you on a schedule, which some students do, some students, they or their parents have told me, they have a schedule. They have times of the day they have to work on their assignments, and that's great. I think that's awesome. And that's probably why 80% of my online students are doing very well. But there are students who struggle with that. They struggle with focusing on that, focusing on setting a schedule. You know, they keep procrastinating. That's one of the reasons I changed the due dates. I had due dates sometimes on Saturdays and Sundays, and parents were telling me, "Don't do that." They said our students do nothing all week, and then they wait till Saturday and they want to do everything on Saturday, and that's often when the family wants to do some things. So they said, can you make the due dates during the week so the students don't wait 4 or 5 days to start a project? So I moved the due dates back. So we get started hopefully right away, and they have to be in by Friday, unless there's some exception like a big slideshow project or something, or in this case, the Dropout Nation video, then I'll move that sometime to the following week. Okay, chapter 7. Yeah, we're starting chapter 7 and chapter 8. Social control and deviance. So you can see where some of these videos start to connect with these topics in here. And social stratification. So this is a big one. Okay, there's 2 chapters combined. And we got 50 slides this time. I gave it 60 points, so it's worth a little more than normal. And there's a lot to do. And don't forget to do everything. Make all your slides. Make sure you got a photo or a graphic on every slide, including the title slides. Make sure that the key title at the top of each slide is varying colors. So I don't see the same color on every single one. I see some reds and blues and greens and so forth. So mix that up a little bit, do a nice layout, do a nice job if you want the 60 points. So by now, everyone, I think, knows that pretty good. Now, I didn't make this due until next week. I could have made due this week, but it is a fairly good project. So my recommendation, I mean, if you want to do the whole thing this week, great. If you didn't get to the whole thing till next week, well, that's your choice. But it'd probably be a good idea to knock out at least 2/3 of it this week. So I do at least 30 of the 50 slides, and then you'll be in good shape. But you can get started on that right away too. Other documentary we got here. This one is another interesting one from PBS, and it's called Second Chance Kids. Now, this comes down to the whole issue of juvenile crime and what to do about it. Now, this is the most hardline juvenile crime. This is about juveniles who committed murder. And there was a time when we had a big crime outbreaks in the late 80s and 1990s where a lot of laws were passed to make things tougher and stricter. And one of those was they were charging a lot of people under 18 as adults. So people 17, 16, I'm not sure how low it would go, probably vary by state. But some of them would be charged as adults and then given adult-like sentences, which could include life without parole. Life without parole means you'd have no chance whatsoever, no matter how you behaved in prison or how you changed, to ever get out. So if you went away at 17 years old to prison and then you had no chance whatsoever to get out, is that constitutional? Now, for those that don't know, the Constitution does have things in it about cruel and unusual punishment. Now, some may say, hey, a murderer, they deserve it. And that's an opinion. I mean, all this is opinions. Other people think, well, someone's 17 or 16 when they commit a crime, even if it's murder, even though they may think they should be in jail for a long time, they many cases may think that they should be given some opportunity to be considered for parole. So that's what this is about. It's about that whole issue and the complexities of that issue. On the one hand, you got people that screwed up at a young age and in this case committed murders, and they went to jail thinking they were going to have life without parole. In other words, they thought they had no chance whatsoever. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that that was not allowed, which meant they have to be considered for parole. So now they have a chance to get out, and in some cases they do get out, that you'll see in here. And then they interview the victims' families, and they have mixed opinions. Some victims' families say, okay, he was young, he made a mistake, he's been in jail 20 years or whatever, it's time to come out. And other victims' family are like, hey, he did a horrible thing, he should not come out, because their loved one that they lost doesn't get a second chance. So again, with these kind of issues and these kind of topics, part of it's to learn about it and hear the different sides and the different stories. And part of it is to have an opinion, think through it. Like, what would I do? What do I think is right? What do I think is wrong? And in this class, like I said, I'm not here to tell you your opinion on issues like this. I'm here to make you aware of this issue, to hear at least one opinion on the topic, and then give you some opportunity to share some of your opinions too. So that I think you'll find these topics quite interesting. I do. Okay. So if you wrap up Dropout Nation, or maybe you have it done already, that'd be even better. The TED one is fairly short and easy assignment, not too bad. Social control and deviant slides, you can just start working on them however you like to do it. You can put your text in first and then look for pictures. Maybe do 10 slides at a time. Whatever plan for working on it works best for you is fine. And then you can, I think you'll find Second Chance Kids quite interesting. Now, what I do when I watch some of these here, you could watch them sitting at a computer, but if you got something that's screencast to a television, it might be nice to, if you can screencast it, to watch it on a HD TV. That's what I like to do at home. And there's various ways you can do that. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. Next week, the slides will carry over. I'll probably give you something else light, maybe a TED Talk or something. Not much next week because it's Thanksgiving week. And then we'll get back to more normal stuff after Thanksgiving week. But you got some things this week, enough to keep you busy. And that's pretty much it. If you have any, I'm going to check the chat right now. If you have any, trying to get the chat to come up. There it is. If you have any questions, I'll check the chat here. We got our hellos in there. We got Noah's here, Cadian's here, Elaine's here. If you got a question, you can put it in the chat right now. I'm looking at the chat, or you can unmute your mic and ask it. Okay, yep, there's not a whole lot this week. So I'm going to wrap things up. You guys have a great day. I'm just going to put a bye in here. If you want to unmute and say bye, or just put it in the chat, that'd be good. And again, you can contact me anytime with questions. If you do make work up, make sure you contact me, because I don't go back and check every empty missing thing every day. There's literally hundreds for me to check. So if you make something up, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, say, Mr. Rio, I did this or that. Can you check it? Or if you got questions, if you get stuck on the assignment. Okay? Have a great day. I'm going to wrap this here up. I'm going to stop sharing. We're going to end our little meeting.